Good morning, everyone. I am just driving my 67 Chrysler 300 to work, and I thought this would be a great time to do a little point of view video whilst driving the 67 300 with the 440 in it. So as you can see, this is a true 67. We've got the old style gauges in front of us here. I just filled it up with gas yesterday, and the gas tank has already moved a little bit. This is not the most fuel efficient vehicle on the road by any means, but that doesn't make it any less fun to drive. We're just going to take some back roads into work today because I don't necessarily want to push the 300 too hard this morning. It is true, this machine rides like a boat. It really does. Over water, it's like, or over the road, it's like driving over waves here. It just floats, and it isn't the most agile moving vehicle. You can hear that big 440 V8, 350 horsepower, 470 torques. And as you can see, the gas gauge is already moving a little bit. So this holds 20 gallons. I'm guessing this gets about 5 miles to the gallon. It's not great. Let's put it that way. It is truly not great. Of course, the engine has a little bit of tuning left to get done on it. I need a new carburetor. That could be part of the reason why we're using so much gas, is the carburetor itself. There you can see the rear seats and just how cool that looks with the old 300 insignia back there. This model apparently only has 23,000 miles on it, but I do believe it did roll over at one point. And now we're sitting at, since I purchased the vehicle, 184 miles driven on it. Since I started working on it myself, I made it roadworthy again. It was not roadworthy when I bought it, and it needed a lot of work. And it still does need some work here to get it even better and a little bit faster, including carb work and just some more hoses being replaced, stuff like that. But overall, it is running good, and it has a really nice sound to it, but I cannot wait to get an even better exhaust on this 300 and make it sound even that much better. It's got a nice chop to it right now, although it could use a little bit more of a chop, in my opinion. Taking a look at the door side here, you've got the beautiful 300 logo right there. With, honestly, back in 67, this was a decent door. Some soft touch material, some plastic, or maybe aluminum back then. You have your 360 AC, as it was called back then, with the little side window here, and of course your mirror there. Drum brakes all around. I did replace the rear drums, and I did replace the master cylinder along with the brake fluid. I did a brake fluid flush, and the vehicle does not stop, like modern vehicles do, but it stops good enough as long as you give yourself a far enough distance at a stop sign or a vehicle in front of you. Here's this V8 going. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Oh man, I don't usually like taking this road though, because it's been a couple years since they put down this tar and then like asphalt on top of it. So it does tend to kick up a little bit of rocks from time to time, but we don't have to go on this road for too far. I did install new headlights on this as well, And I did install some LED bulbs on the turn signals along with the rear brake lights and turn signals, although they are not super bright. This is actually, once you get above 60 miles an hour and the engine warms up, this is a very quiet cruising car. The only thing you can hear is a little bit of air coming through that side window right there. And otherwise, this is a fantastic cruising vehicle. And it's quite quiet as well once you get it up in the cruising range. That's what this 300 was designed for, of course. And it's just really a beautiful car. Now, I have no idea what this little thing does here. I truly don't. Somebody could maybe tell me in the comments. I just don't know. Oh, well, would you look at that? I have gauge lights, I guess. I never knew that. I always went to the right for the gauge lights, but I guess I needed to go towards the left. There, and now I have some sort of gauge lights. They are not the brightest, and you can barely tell, but it appears that I do have gauge lights, which is pretty dang cool. One thing you're going to know is that, or see, if you ever driven an older vehicle, the steering is not very sharp. So if your hands aren't on the steering wheel at all times, you're going to go over into the next lane or the ditch. That is something that is guaranteed. But I am happy to report that with all of that messing around, I do have gauge lights now, at least in the left too. So that's pretty cool. You can hear just how bad the sand and the asphalt is on this road, hence why I never take it. But we're almost done with it, thank goodness. I do have to get the throttle cable looked at because it does tend to stick at lower throttle inputs. So I do have to have that looked at on it. We're just coasting now up to the stop sign. Now would be a good time to apply the brakes. And we have the left indicator light on here. Just kind of messing around with this while we have a chance. And we'll see if there's any vehicles coming, which I do not see. Oh man, this thing is a monster. Paired with it is the Chrysler 727 transmission, which they used for decades in these large vehicles. The 727, of course, is a 3-speed, and it is truly a fantastic transmission. I had it in my 78 Dodge Monaco, and I have it now in the 67. It's very tough, very, very strong, and it's, of course, it's not very fast shifting, but it gets the job done. It definitely provides you with some decent gearing though. Of course, the gears are very long. First gear is long, second gear is long, third gear is long, because it needs to be, because you're dealing with 3 speeds and a lot of horsepower, but it is still sort of fun to drive with that transmission, and honestly, it fits the character of the car very well. At the end of the day, this is a classic car, and you don't need it to shift super fast like performance cars of today. Honestly, to tell you the truth, between this and the Mercedes-Benz 5-speed that I have in my newer 300 SRT, gosh, there isn't a whole ton of difference. I mean, there is a difference, but not a ton of difference. If this was a 5-speed and that was and compared to that 5-speed, yeah, that shifts a little faster, but not a ton. This is a good transmission, and hence why Chrysler used it for so long. Similar to the ZF 8-speed that they are using in all their applications now. When they find a good product, they stick with it. And that has to be said about this beautiful transmission that is in here. It's a beautiful morning for a drive. See, when you go above 60, the engine noise really isn't there, and I'm looking for a little bit more of that here when I get an exhaust and get some work done on this. But overall, a very fun vehicle. I'm looking for that piece though. I'm not sure where you can find that little piece, and I honestly don't know what that's called, but that window needs to be put in place a little bit better than what it is right now. I love these side indicators that are on here. The little, they're not even LEDs. They're just, ooh, feel it. The torque of this monster is insane, and there's no waiting for the torque. I just absolutely love that. There's no waiting for the 470 pound-feet of torque here. It's just available at all times, especially low in the rev range. One thing these vehicles didn't have was a RPM gauge here, and I wish they did, because that would kind of help you determine where your shift points are. But again, back in the day, nobody was taking these cars out on the track. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this could be considered a muscle car back in the day with the 440 V8. The Chrysler 300 was. Feel that. I mean, you could, oh yeah, roasting the tires on the turn. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, this thing would have no problem roasting the tires, even with these larger rims that I put on. I have 9.5-inch rims on the back, which are massive for this vehicle, considering it only had 15-inch rims, 15-inch tall, and I think they were on like 205s or something like that, if that. They were very narrow tires. Now we're dealing with 285s up front, 255 or 285s out back, 255s up front, and 18-inch all around. They're massive tires on this beast, but honestly, they help it ride a little bit better, and they just make the appearance of the vehicle look just that much better, I think, in my opinion. The Chrysler 300 is kind of that mobster vehicle, and the rims that I put on here definitely make it look like that. One thing the old 300 and the new 300 have in common is that the trunks are massive on these vehicles. They are just truly massive. And you could fit, if you were a mobster, you could fit a lot of bodies in there. Lots of bodies. And you have the power, all the power in the world to get away from the cops too. So I could see why you see these vehicles in a lot of movies that include the mob. Which is quite comical. But again, here we are cruising at 65. Don't hear the engine too much or the exhaust. It quiets down after about 60 miles an hour. And as we approach our final destination, I appreciate you guys for watching this little POV video of driving the 300. And if you want more Mopar content, like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching, guys.